What is up, everybody, on a Monday morning? I hope everybody was having a fantastic weekend. I don't know about you, but my weekend flew by, and I will tell you straight off the cuff that I'm still rubbing my eyes, this virtual school thing, man. Whew. For anybody who's got kids out there, anybody got kids at virtual school, I'll tell you what, man, it's no joke. It really is. I don't even start till tomorrow, and just trying to set everything up and making sure that everything is, logistically in the right spot and everything is organized. It is. I'll tell you what, man, it's not easy. I will give, before I start, I will give a credit and a shout out to all the teachers out there who are doing fantastic job, basically wasting their whole summer coming up with these game plans. But listen, I want to get right into this, and I want to talk about Philadelphia Eagles. And again, for everybody tuning in, remember tonight, episode 126 drops of the Heat Ratio. We will be talking Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, Flyers, and Major League Baseball. We go national as well. But I had to talk about the Eagles because today was a very disappointing day or yesterday was a very disappointing day for the Eagles. If nobody's seen the reports, there was a lot of injuries yesterday, headed by none other than Carson Wentz. And I understand it's a day-to-day lower body injury. It is a soft tissue injury, but I'm starting to finally get worried. And I was a huge advocate of Carson Wentz. I still am. I love Carson Wentz. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and I'm glad he's on our team. But I tell you what, it's very hard for me not to get upset and not to get concerned when he consistently lands on the injury report. I don't think there's any other quarterback who I remember who's been on the injury report more than Carson Wentz. So that is something that scares me, and I think that's why he gets all the prognostication throughout the national outlets and through the reporters, because I think that seeing him land on this list day in and day out is concerning. The other concerning part is Jalen Reagor. He's going to be your number one, supposedly, right? It looks like he's going to be out 3 to 4 weeks at least with a shoulder injury. I cannot stand when the medical staff does not give you exactly what it is, right? Exactly what it is. I hate when they kind of withhold information. Just tell me exactly. Listen, I'm already people checking in. I love it. Now Hurts picks make sense. I don't know if it makes sense, but because I still think you could have took Patrick McQueen in the first round, and then you could have took a receiver in the second round, and you wouldn't have took Jalen Hurts. But I get it. He played. Yes, listen, you're absolutely right. Listen, I want everybody to understand. I'm not a Carson hater. I am not. I love Carson Wentz. Go back and look at all of my shows, and I consistently pump up Carson Wentz. All I'm saying is I'm starting to get concerned. Sometimes when you're injury prone, look at the Phillies. Right. And I know this is a really far-fetched comparison, right? But if you look at the Phillies and look at a guy like Roman Quinn, a guy who has all the tools, who is fast as lightning, who shows he can play this position in this league, but cannot stay healthy. He consistently has hamstring issues. Okay. Look at the Mets when Jose Reyes was a phenomenal talent, but consistently got hurt. He was consistently on a report. That's all I'm saying. This is a guy who seems to not be able to shake off the injury bug right now. And I hope that it stops. I really do. And I hope this is nothing serious, but I cannot get in tune and say I am 100% confident. And I don't think anybody can. I really don't. And, to go back to the comment of now the Hurts picks make sense. Listen, if you think about it in the connotation that they wanted somebody young and they wanted somebody there to learn the system and to be able to come in and, and start a few games for Carson, because obviously Carson is your guy. I see that. I have a really big problem with the second round selection. Just when you're at a team that needs so many different parts, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I just have a complete issue with that. That bothers me. That's all. That bothers me. I hope it makes. Listen, I was not on board with the first and second round picks. I would have went a completely different way. If you were going to take a receiver, it wasn't going to be Rager to me. It was going to be Justin Jefferson. Okay, that's who I would have taken. He was the more established guy, in my opinion, right? But at the same time, at the same token, you have to look at what the team needs are. And Patrick McQueen is sitting there as a linebacker. And right now, we're talking about putting all our eggs in the TJ Edwards basket. Are you kidding me right now? I mean, that I'm sorry, but it's irresponsible. It really is. Lou checks in. What's up, Lou? How you doing, buddy? Hey, Lou, you're not at the gym this morning? I'm usually see you checking in at the gym, man. I hope you're not taking a day off. Nah, I'm just kidding, buddy. I hope you had a fantastic weekend, man. For real. Thought about you last night, Lou. I was going to YouTube. I was watching some old clips, and it started out with some old New Edition, and then I parlayed it into some Smokey Robinson. So I had some flashbacks of Wildwood on the deck out there, man. I've just got look. See, my man Lou, he's with it. Just got back. He is dedicated. He definitely is dedicated. That's great. Thanks for checking in, buddy. I appreciate it. But when we talk about Carson Wentz, we literally have to talk about, number one, the talent evaluation around him, and number two, his protection. And this going to bring me, and I know we're going to talk about this tonight. And look, say Lou is a music man. I love Fort Solid. I love it. Absolutely love it. It brings me to the Jason Peters situation. And if you follow me on Twitter at Cutillo23, you follow at Heat Ratio Sports, you will see that me and my counterpart, Mr. Big Mikey Smalls, Mike Mataraki, went back and forth about why he feels Jason Peters is wrong, and I feel Jason Peters is right. I feel Jason Peters is well within his means to ask for what he deserves. Okay, I will always be an advocate for the players in that perspective, and I'll tell you why. And I ask this question day in and day out. Does him wanting to be paid at 38 years old for a guy who's put his entire career into the NFL, his entire career, he is a Hall of Fame, he's a Hall of Fame left tackle. Okay, he has done nothing but been a good soldier throughout his career. Okay, he's always there. He's been training since he's been a teenager. He's a phenomenal athlete. Why should he not deserve to get paid what he's worth? I'm sorry. I get it. They lowball Jason Peters. We understand that. They lowball Jason Peters. Okay, and now it's biting them in the butt a little bit, right? It's biting them in the butt. He lowballed him. Let's face it. How we lowball Jason Peters and figure, you know what? Nobody wanted him. We'll bring him back as a guard. He'll play as a guard. And if you hear, he has been very good in camp so far. The condensed version of training camp, but he's still been good at the guard position. Now, will that parlay into real-time action? Nobody knows. No, nobody knows. And Lou, Lou, the problem is Jason Peters wants more money. Okay, he's signed right now to play right guard, but they have to figure out with the Andre Dillard situation. Are they going to kick him out the left tackle? Are they going to take a chance on Jordan Mailata, who I'm not taking a chance on right now? I do not want the blind side of my quarterback protected by a guy who I'm not sure can play the position. That's the reason why I have Andre Dillard. So, in my opinion, if you're going to bring no veteran leadership in here, you have no choice but to swing out Jason Peters to the left tackle position. And if you're going to swing Jason Peters to the left tackle position, he is going to have to be paid like a top left tackle. It's as simple as that. And I beg of anybody listening or anybody on replay, give me your top 10 left tackles in football and tell me Jason Peters isn't in the top 10, even at 38 years old. And he probably is. My point is, listen, is he 100%, the option? No, I understand that, but he's who you have, and he's damn good. And I say this again, if your job, your day job paid you to do a certain thing, right? If your day job said, you know what, hey Tony, all you're going to do today is you're going to sell Toyota Camrys. That's it. I just need you to sell Toyotas. So I want you to learn about Toyotas. I want you to learn about all the options. You're just going to have to sell Camrys. And then all of a sudden, the next week, they come to you and say, you know what, I need you to learn about Lexuses. I need you to learn about Nissans. And you go, wait a minute. And they go, but no, we're not giving you any more money. We want you to be multi-talented. Okay, the Nissan guys make more money, but we want to pay you like the Ford guy. How does that work? Would you be okay with that? Probably not. And that is my point. So he's not a bad guy for wanting to ask for more money. I completely understand it, and I stand by Jason Peters. I really do. That's exactly. Lou, that's exactly why. He got lowballed in the year, and to play the guard position, and the guard is a less paying job than the tackle. But now they want him to play tackle, or if they want, I should say if because it's not been confirmed, but if they want him to play tackle and they want him to bounce back outside, and if he's going to play, start all the games at left tackle, he wants to get paid like a left tackle. Listen, this is the same argument. Okay, the same argument people are having with JT Realmuto. Okay, and I know obviously he's younger. It's a different sport. But with JT Realmuto, his agent wants JT to be paid like one of the best players in baseball, not catchers, players. Okay, because of the DH rule, because he could play first base. He wants to be, so that's a designation. So that's a difference of like $10 million, right? That's a big deal. So why not? Why not, JT? Why not? Right? And this are multi-billionaire owners, okay? Multi-billionaire owners. All I'm saying is, for me and Jason Peters, a guy in Carson Wentz who we see is on an injury report already after the first week, I do not want somebody I don't trust at the left tackle position. That's all I'm saying. I would pay. Listen, are we talking about a $3 or $4 or $5 million difference? Is that what we're talking about for 1 year? We're just talking about for 1 year. This year's already here. Your cap is in disarray next year anyway. So why not just do it? Howie, just do it. You have to protect your quarterback. It's your obligation to protect your quarterback. So it's going to be interesting. But to get back on, are you worried about the Eagles? I'm really worried about their Jalen Reagor injury because we seen this, didn't we, last year with Deshaun Jackson? We seen Deshaun Jackson go out week 1, and they said, you know what? He doesn't need surgery. He'll be back in 3 to 4 weeks, right? 3 to 4 weeks. And you know what? Who knows? He should be okay. And then he lasted the entire year. So, I don't have that warm, cushy feeling inside when you tell me that Jalen Reagor is going to be back in week 3. I really don't. And I'm not saying Jalen Reagor is make or break for this offense, but listen, here's a first-round pick who, we heard was doing really good things and developing a cohesion in a relationship with Carson Wentz that I think is sorely needed on this team, especially in that position. Lou checks in, and as Jags released for, I am shocked that they released Leonard Fournette. I really am. I don't know what's going on out there in Jacksonville land. Obviously, I know it's the Gardner Minshew team, and they have some really good young pieces out there. But you released Leonard Fournette, who is basically he's your guy. He's your workhorse. He's your bell cow. It's really surprising to me. And I know there was a lot of turmoil between Fournette and the organization, and he was in the last year of his deal, and he's looking to get paid. So, obviously in a very interesting year that he will land somewhere. Lou wants to ask, do you grab him if you're the Eagles? And listen, again, I am all in on Miles Sanders. I really am. And I think that if the Eagles showed no interest in signing a guy like Devonta Freeman and no interest in signing a guy like LaShawn McCoy, who I didn't want for the record anyway. I really don't think that they go out and get Leonard Fournette. I think he wants to land in a spot where, he's going to command a high money value. But I will tell you what, look right down the pike here, right down 95, and the Washington Redskins, they're in need of a running back. They a 35-year-old Adrian Peterson, and you have Antonio Gibson, who was a 3rd-round pick. Don't know if you can rely on him, but what better way to gain your running game by losing Darius Geis and adding a guy like Leonard Fournette. So I wouldn't be surprised if Fournette lands a starting role. Fournette doesn't want to be a backup. That's one thing. He doesn't want to be a backup. He wants to show wants to show he can ball. So I'd be really surprised if he landed in a situation where he was a backup. But it's an interesting name. Listen, if obviously if I wasn't convinced that Miles Sanders is going to be the guy, I would be all over Leonard Fournette. I like Leonard Fournette. He's a very underrated running back, but I'm not sure what kind of baggage he brings. I just think he wanted to win and he got frustrated. Listen, I say that all the time. These guys get frustrated. They're team play. Doesn't mean they're not team players. Whoever. This is where I think the fan and the past athlete gets misconstrued here, because nobody remembers what it's like to play a sport. We all turn into these over rambunctious fans, right? We turn into these people who forget what it's like to play on the field. You mean to tell me that when you played youth sports, you weren't pissed off when you had kids on your team that didn't play right? When you had kids who wouldn't pay attention? Wait, you had a team who never won? That didn't piss you off? That's normal. That's normal emotion. That's competitiveness. That's not being a prick. That's being competitive. That's what it's all about. So guess what? I get it. Leonard Fournette was pissed off that organization under Doug Marrone was going nowhere, right? He was pissed off that they were just getting rid of players here and they weren't re-signed. Listen, what did they do? They get rid of Jalen Ramsey, one of the best players on the team. Say what you want. So, yeah, listen, he's pissed off. So what? I agree with him. Why not? So they cut him and maybe, he finds a better role somewhere else. I'm sure he will land on his feet. Listen, Lou, they need a lot of help, Lou. A lot of help. They need a lot of help. Lou says they definitely need help. Not strong anywhere. Listen, this team has a ton of question marks. A ton, and I point to the secondary as a huge question mark. Beyond Darius Slay. Andre texts, and then we need a bruiser that makes offense simple for. You know what? Andre, that's a good point. Listen, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying I don't want Fournette. Okay, what I'm saying is, if he were to land here and accept a part-time role, I would be surprised. Put it that way. I love Leonard Fournette. He's one of my favorite running backs because of his style. I think he's very underrated. I just don't think he wants to come be a part-time player. I really don't. If he would come here and accept that role and be a back that could spell Miles Sanders 10 times a game instead of Boston Scott, instead of Corey Clement, I would do that. But I think people are forgetting the Corey Clement factor, right, on this team. And I understand we're talking about injury bugs, right, with Carson Wentz, and you see what happened to Jalen Reagor. And Corey Clement has his own injury bug, right? He went from one of the MVPs, in my opinion, of that Super Bowl run to never seeing him again. And unfortunately, that was a big deal to me because I predicted big things at a Corey Clement, and I still think he has the talent to produce. So I think the X factor in the running back position on this team is Corey Clement. But get back to your point, Andre, if Leonard Fournette is willing to accept, a veteran minimum deal and be able to be a part-time player, Miles Sanders is backup, I am all in. I would love Leonard Fournette on this team. I just don't think he's willing to accept that. And to get back to Lou, Lou, I like Corey. I do. I think he does a lot of good things. He just doesn't, he doesn't seem to be able to stay healthy. I think if he could stay healthy, he could be good. Let's not exactly. Now is the time to panic. I am extremely panicked when it comes to secondary. I've been talking about this for weeks. I was on a show yesterday in Iowa, pretty good show out there on the radio. And the first thing they asked me is, they said to me, what's the biggest concern you have with the Philadelphia Eagles? And I said secondary. And they said, well, I don't understand. You have got Darius Slay. Listen, make no mistake about it. Darius Slay is phenomenal. I love Darius Slay. Darius Slay, to me, will be the best corner we see in Philly since Asante Samuel and Troy Vincent. That's my opinion. But what do we have after that? You bring up Malcolm Jenkins, and that was my point. Malcolm Jenkins was your franchise quarterback on defense. He called all the shots. He was your leader in the locker room. He was your leader on the sideline, right? He was the guy that was able to formulate these rookie basically rookie kids into developing into some kind of secondary help. And right now we don't have it. This is why I'm worried. I'm worried because we are now asking Rodney McLeod to do something he's never done in his career, and that is to be the quarterback on defense. We're asking Jalen Mills, okay, a guy who got burnt consistently. I dig the kid. I do. I like his moxie and I like his confidence, but at the same time, I think he gets beat a lot. And now you're going to put him into the safety position. Right? We're going to be exactly. We have Mills. Exactly. Now you're going to put him in the safety position. Now, who's your other corner? Is it Avonte Maddox, who's another kid who showed flashes? He showed flashes. Who knows? You bring in Will Parks. You bring in the guy from the Rams. I keep forgetting his name. Kelly, Robert Kelly Smith. Here's another guy who was their nickel. And Lou checks in, says Mills can't cover me. Lou, I'll tell you what, that makes both of us, buddy. We're not the most studly looking men in the world, but that's okay. I think we can get down the field with a little ease, and I think I could throw a cut here or there on Jalen Mills, but the Green Goblin's getting cut off this morning. I apologize, but no, seriously, all kidding aside, the one thing that also concerns me about the secondary is the way that Jim Schwartz is basically promoting it. I mean, he is selling us on the idea of playing a positionless secondary, and that kind of scares me, man. That scares me. It means basically you got a bunch of guys who aren't going to be locked into any positions. I don't get it. I really don't. Double move, bro. That's all it takes. Yo, start and stop, Lou. Start and stop. As long as I don't tear my ACL on the first start and stop, we're good. Andre Slay, however, we need a guy that'll break his nose. Yes. And maybe Kayvon Wallace is that guy, right? I don't know. I'm not sure. But we definitely need somebody to bring the wood. We need somebody to be feared. And when you get past the next level, and what I mean by the next level is, okay, yes, we have Fletcher Cox. Yes, and we have Malik Jackson. Yes, we have Jason Hargrove, who we don't know when he's going to be healthy, right? I still am very pessimistic when it comes to our ends in Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett. But after that, who do we have? Who do we have? Now, see, one thing, Andre, you're going to know this when I say this. A lot of people discount the fact that Malcolm Jenkins used to come in and play linebacker in the box on 30 to 40% of all the defensive plays for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was a hybrid, almost like Buchanan was when he was out there in Arizona. Okay, he like a Deion Jones. Okay, that's exactly what he kind of brings. And he's gone now. We don't have that guy anymore. Jalen Mills isn't coming up and playing linebacker. Rodney McLeod isn't coming up and playing linebacker. So not only did you lose Malcolm Jenkins, who was giving you the opportunity to play multiple positions 40% of the time, you lost the quarterback on defense. You also lost the quarterback on defense at the linebacker position in Nigel Bradham. And I know he just got cut by New Orleans. It doesn't matter. You didn't replace these guys. Okay? You did not, are you giving me seriously TJ Edwards? Is that what I'm looking for? Are you going to give me this hyped up TJ Edwards? We have never had good linebackers in Philadelphia. I mean, we had, but I'm talking, except for Jeremiah Trotter. We got to go back to Trot. We got to go back to Carlos Emmons. Those are the guys. I mean, think about the long list of linebackers that we had in Philadelphia. When you talk about guys that were, Stuart Bradley could have had a decent career if his head didn't get wrong all the time. But, Mark Semino, you saw us on Mark Semino. You saw us on Quentin Caver and Barry Gardner. Come on. It was ridiculous. Lou checks in. Is Malik Jackson healthy? For right now, he is, Lou. The thing that scares me is, there's this woman that I can't stand in the NFL, and her name is Liz Frank. And Liz Frank, that Liz Frank injury has hurt a lot of people. If you remember, Brian Dawkins had an injury once in his career too, and it's a tough injury to come back from, especially when you're a 330-pound defensive tackle. So I hope that he can come back 100%, because if he can, he's going to be that's going to be an electric line when you talk about Fletcher Cox and you talk about Malik Jackson, because the only thing that's going to do is it's going to allow the people on the outside not to double team To get single covers. Hopefully that helps guys like Derek Barnett and Brandon Graham. Getting rid of Bradham to me was a dumb move as well, Lou. I completely agree. I think that whether he got cut or not, and everybody will say, "Hey, listen, New Orleans cut him, he probably couldn't play." That doesn't mean anything. This is a guy who knows your system. This is a guy who calls the plays. This is a guy that you can rely on, to be there in the middle to help guys move around, to call the defensive line stunts. And he's not going to be there right now. And I am not sold on any of these guys they have. So, the one guy that had a little bit of experience is Tavis Brown, decided to retire and hang it up at 26 years old. So, listen, I don't know if we bring anybody who gets cut from camp, if there's going to be another move somewhere. I'm not sure, but I'm very worried about the Eagles. Very worried about the Eagles. So, again, from the secondary to the linebacking core, from the outside, Lou checks in, Nigel Brown. You're right, Lou. He was a force in the middle. He was a big reason why we won that Super Bowl in 2007. People discount the fact of how well Nigel Bradham played. They really do. He was an absolute stud. And listen, he's a Schwartz guy, right? He was another guy. Schwartz brought in some guys who didn't really work out, had some guys from the Buffalo days, but Nigel Bradham, in my opinion, was a guy I always liked, and he was a guy that brought in that did work, and he played well. So I think we're going to miss him for real this year. We really are. But anyway, listen, everybody, I 28 minutes and keeping these things under 30 minutes every day. Jigsaw's Judgment. Are you right about the Eagles? Tune in tonight live, 9 o'clock on Facebook, on Twitter, on Periscope, where we go live. Heat Ratio, episode number 126, where we're talking Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers, and we go a little national. We're going to talk a little Ken Griffey Jr. We're going to talk about a little Major League Baseball. Talk about father-son combos on the anniversary of the first time in 1990, Ken Griffey Jr. and Senior played a game together for the Seattle Mariners. So a lot of cool things on the topic, and we'll bring some stuff in there too. Lou, thanks for checking in, buddy. Andre, thanks for checking in. As always, I really appreciate it. Everybody else checking in, thank you. Listen, you see the things on the bottom, at Cutillo23, at PhillyInfluencers.com, at Fox Sports The Gambler, and at Heat Ratio Sports. Give me a follow. Check it out. Check out the YouTube page, Heat Ratio Sports, Instagram. We're Facebook. We're everywhere. Again, really appreciate you every day. Check it in, and we're gonna keep this going, man. We're getting a lot of good feedback, and right now I am out. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and hopefully I'll catch you tonight.